Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you so much. What an auspicious welcome. Welcome to the VoiceOver Today audio podcast. I'm your host, D. Foster 3, where we have our eye on the culture and we do our own investigative journalism. I want to say, you know the spill at the beginning: like, subscribe, share, follow. If you're getting anything out of this content, we want to hear from you. Our email address is thevoiceovertheglobe@gmail.com, thevoiceovertheglobe@gmail.com. Also, follow us on our social media platforms: Wake Up Global Networks on Facebook, WGNINC on X, and Wake Up Global Media on Instagram, and the Voice Over Pod on TikTok. I want to say shout out to April J., CEO and owner of WPB Media Networks, who gives us a voice. Make sure you like, subscribe to the channel, support the channel, support the channel. I did one of my first shows on supporting black media. Will black media disappear because we refuse to support it? Hopefully, prayerfully, not. Listen, I want to say thank you. Have you just seen us on Sunday morning for your word of encouragement? It's called The Voice of Hope Connection, The Voice of Hope Connection, and it uploads every Sunday morning live at 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Please feel free to join the Replay Crew. What's up, Replay Crew? Or our The Voice Over Now podcast, which uploads live every Friday, each and every Friday. We're going to be adjusting that time, as a matter of fact, and I'll give you more information on that particular podcast on this Friday. But I want to say thank you so much for all of your support in all of our shows. We are here to encourage, to educate, to, yes, entertain, but to bring you the information so that you can think, not that we think for you, but that you have the proper information to think for yourself. Today's discussion is, if they make you, they can break you. Now, I'm going to slow it down just a little bit, because I say all the time that sometimes the long, hard way is the shore, consistent way. You know, we live in a society where everybody is looking for a come up. And unfortunately, most people, when you don't understand the principle that I'm going to talk about, will do anything to be known, to be famous, to be popular. But I have always said, if they make you, they can break you. Let me take it scriptural, which I can do. It says, except the Lord build a house, they labor in vain. Except the Lord watch a city, the watchmen stay awake in vain. What am I saying? If God don't put you up, then whoever puts you up can bring you down. But when God puts you up, they cannot bring you down. I just did a Friday's podcast with Sean Riffraff, and we talked about putting in the work. A lot of people want to be famous, they want to be popular, they want to be known, but they want to do it microwave. They want to do it overnight, and they don't want to put in the work. And so therefore, they take shortcuts, and shortcuts always end up being short. And most of the time, you end up getting cut. What am I talking about? Of course, I'm talking about that story that is dominating the news, dominating pop culture, with Sean Diddy Combs being indicted and being held without bond, and appealed his no bond release, and still no bond. Now, I want you to think about something, and I think I'm going to go into detail on my Friday podcast in this, because this is a great lesson to be learned by all of us. And again, Combs has not pleaded guilty to anything, and every person is innocent until they pleaded guilty. But you know me, I always take the principle out of everything, and hopefully it can be a learning moment for each and every one of us, even while we're having fun, even while we're pointing out the truth. If you think about the indictments, which I won't go into because they're too egregious, but these things have not just started, and according to all the information that's suddenly coming out, everybody in Hollywood knew what he was doing. Of course they did. Of course they did. And now they're speaking out because they feel safe. But if you think about it, a young black man from Harlem, I believe, growing up pretty well, from what I understand, went to private school, but not rich, not living on Millionaire's Row, but maybe comfortable. Where did he get all the resources to become a billionaire in a matter of, let's give it 20 years? I mean, I'm not saying that he could not acquire that kind of wealth because he had businesses. He had Bad Boy Entertainment, but where did he get the money to start Bad Boy? And I'm not going into all that history. Like I said, I may go into that history Friday. But the point of the matter is that somebody gave him a quick leg up. I mean, come on, think about it. Combs was almost a billionaire in his 40s. That's unheard of. Most of the time it's 60s, 70s, unless you inherit wealth, which he did not inherit wealth when you do his history. It was a quick come up. And anytime there's a quick come up, there's always conditions. And here's the thing about the quick come up. When you do the quick come up, you have to maintain the conditions in order to maintain the status. And a lot of times I tell people that if they make you, it's called kingmakers. If the king makes you, the king can break you. But when King, in my faith, Jesus makes you, no one can break you. But the thing about going through that road is sometimes it's long, sometimes it's difficult, sometimes it's not linear, sometimes there's trials, sometimes there's tribulations, sometimes it's takes longer than you want. You got to put in work, you got to put in money, you have to invest. And today, let's be honest, most people rather not take that route. But if they can get a quick come up and be popular and be famous and get number one hits and get this role in a movie without putting any works and do favors for it, that's all well and good. But at a point in time, if you ever get tired of doing the favors, if you ever get tired of acquiescing, if they made you, they can break you. And this is my surmising, and I'll go into detail on this. And I think I already went into some depth, but I really want to go into detail because it's in our face, and it's a history lesson that nobody is talking about. Who did Diddy break ranks with? You said nobody. He just, I understand his karma. I talked about that on last week. But if what we've been hearing that people have known about this for years and years and years, and now all of a sudden everything is coming out, that can't be ironic. So you've got to look behind what's not being said and hear what's not being seen or heard said and see what's not being spoken. Who did he break ranks with? And I'm gonna go into that, who I believe. But this is the story. Sometimes the long, hard road is the sure road in life. I like a saying that all money ain't good money. And a lot of people need to learn that because there are strings attached. Nobody gives you nothing for nothing in life. Learn that point right there. Nobody gives you like, share, subscribe, follow. You want to be famous, you want to be rich, you want to be known, you want to be popular. Nobody gives you nothing for nothing. I had an aunt when I was in school, when I was in college, and I used to complain and I wanted to drop out. She says, one thing about it, people can take away everything, but they can't take your degree away from you. You put in the work. When you have put in the work, they cannot take your success from you. And we're beginning to hear more in Hollywood where very few people put in the work. They got there by favors. They got there by bargaining and negotiations. And when the kingmaker decides that the prince or the princess that they made are no longer doing their bidding, the king has the power to remove you. But when you've got that long, hard struggle and you learn lessons and you've shed tears and you had to make some investments and you get there, you can stand on the top of your own mountain and say, nobody can bring me down because God, in my hard work, put me up. I'm going to talk about this more this weekend. Don't forget to join us on the Voice Over Now podcast right here on WPB Media Networks. I want to say thank you. As a matter of fact, this is our final The Voice Over the Day audio podcast. We're going to make more investments on our weekend shows. And again, on this weekend, I'll begin to tell you more about that. I want to say thank you for those of you who've been loyal listeners. we want to say, come on over to Friday. You can listen to and you can view. You can listen or you can view. Whatever you do, just be a part of the Voice Over Nair podcast. Until Friday, this is D. Foster 3 reminding you that you have a voice. Keep lifting it.